Hello everyone, today we're going to create a slider using HTML and CSS without any JavaScript, and probably you can already tell that the downside of that will be that we won't have as much control as we would like to switch back and forth between the images. So we're going to use CSS keyframes, and I have 5 images with me. This is the first one, the second, third, fourth and fifth, and all these images are available on pexels.com for free download and free use. Okay, so to get started, I have an empty index HTML and an empty style CSS. So I'm going to close this sidebar, and in my HTML I'm just going to generate a boilerplate using exclamation and enter, and then I'm going to link my style sheet like that, and then I'm going to change this title to image slider, and then inside the body I'm going to create a div with a class of container 1R like that, and I'm going to leave it empty because we're going to add the images in CSS. But I'm going to create another div with the class of images, which will have my images, because I want to showcase on the bottom the images that we have in our slider currently. So I'm going to copy this down 4 more times. So using on Windows you can do Shift Alt and down, so it will copy it down like that. So this is 2, 3, 4 and 5. So once I save that, I can open this up with live server, and then we can see something on the screen and we can begin styling it. So let me place this full screen like that, and I'm just going to reset everything, and I'm going to say margin 0, and then I'm going to go into my images, because that's currently what we have here. This is our images class because we haven't added anything in our container class. So for my images class, I'm just going to say display flex so that all the images can go in raw form, and then I'm going to say flex wrap of wrap so that it removes this horizontal scroll bar, so that the images can just go on the next line automatically. So once I say that, this happens, and then I want to target my actual images, my image element, and I want to limit them a bit, and I'm going to say let them have a width of 200 pixels and a height of 150 pixels like that. Okay, and let me just go to the body so that I can change this background color a bit, and I'm going to say background color, set this to 222, which is dark like that. And then now for the images, let me just align item center and justify content center so that they move to the center. So let me save that like that, and then let me add a margin on the images. So I can say here margin of 0 on the top and bottom and 5 pixels on the left and right like that. And then just to make them a little more pronounced, I'm going to add a border on the images, and I'm going to say border of 2 pixels solid and white, and then let me add a border radius of 4 pixels like that, and it's looking nice. So now let's deal with our container class. So for our container, of course, the first thing that we need to do is add our background, not background color, add our background using URL like that, and we can target our image 1 and set that to no repeat, and center and cover like that. Now nothing happens because technically this doesn't take up any space, so in order to fix that, you can set the height. Let me set the height to 500 pixels, which will push this down like that, and you can see our image right there. Okay, so let me add a bit of margin between the top, the left here, and the right here, and the bottom. So on the container, I'm going to set a margin of 50 pixels all around like that. Okay, so once I set the margin of 50 pixels all around, the next that we need to do is actually deal with the sliding images right here, and you can do that easily. We can say animation here, and you can call that animation anything that you want. I'm going to call it slider, and I want it to run for 20 seconds, and I want it to be infinite so that it keeps on. Even when it reaches the end, it will just start over and continue going. So we actually need to create this animation, and you can do this using art keyframes like that, and slider, you give it the name that you give it on the top right there. And then I'm just going to copy this down because this is the property that we want to target, because the images are the ones that we are going to be changing. And I'm going to say, so I'm going to say for because we actually have, this is the first image, so we have 1 2 3 4 images left. So I'm going to start it at 25% like that, and I'm just going to paste this in and change this to background 2, and then I'm going to grab all of this, paste it on the bottom, 1 2 3 like that, change this to 50%, change this to 75%, and change this to 100%, and then change this to image 3, 4, and finally this to 5. So what this means basically is that imagine that we are moving from 0%, starting from this background, going to 100%. So for every interval, so for this is 0%, then 25, 50, 75, and 100%. So for every interval between the, for every 25% that we're switching the images, then it will switch the images for us, and then it will also add some kind of animation so that it doesn't just pop in. So let me save this, and you can see that it's looking very nice, and it will run for the time period that you've set here. So if you set this to 5 seconds, you would expect it will go very fast like that, as you can see, 5 seconds, and then starts over like that. So you can set this to 20 so that it's more visible, the images are more visible. And like I said, we don't have much control over this because we don't have the mechanisms to switch back and forth between images, but I might do another video where we actually implement the JavaScript so that we can switch back and forth, and actually maybe even if we click one of these images, then we can switch to that image. So that will be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. And let me just add the title on the top, so an H1 saying keyframes image slider, which will appear here. So let me style this a bit more. So style equals to text align center, and let me set the font size to 46 pixels, and okay, let's see that, and change the color. Yep, color, set that to white. Yep, that looks nice. So in case you're wondering, I don't like using inline styling because inline styling has the highest specificity. So for example, even if I were to target this H1 in my style CSS, if I go below this and target my H1 and set the font size, for example, to 100 pixels, you'll notice that nothing changes. But if I go here and remove this font size, remove this from here, you'll notice that now the styling applies. So the reason why I don't like to heavily use inline styling is because it has the highest specificity, so that even the styles in your style sheet don't apply to them. Okay, so thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.